since the draft. What do you think you or your fellow reporters perhaps missed?
Well, I mean, look, you can't pick them all. We held ourselves to a standard. We have a high standard. We can only pick four. Jeff is an esteemed man of letters now, a New York Times bestseller. But, back in the days when he was plucking people from the obscurity of the Florida State graduate pool, Jeff enjoyed a good controversy too. I will say that, and I mentioned this on the show, it felt like a criminal act to leave Jerry Falwell Jr. off of this list.
Agreed.
And, truth be told, if I'd really cared about winning the draft, I probably would have picked him. People know this story as Jerry and the Pool Boy. This was back in, when was it that this happened?
I think it was like 2019, 18.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 2020, Reuters broke the story that Jerry Falwell's wife, Jerry Falwell Jr., was president of Liberty University at the time, had an affair with a pool attendant. They met in Miami. And this was kind of the culmination of the fall from grace for Falwell, who is a complex figure. Liberty's name and its money are all tied to his father, Jerry Falwell Sr. And what's interesting about Jerry Falwell Sr. is that he's known in part as the televangelist who survived the 80s without having a sex scandal. So it's kind of ironic that Jerry Falwell Jr. essentially had his career undone by a sex scandal.
Not even his own, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the jury's out on whether he was present for any of these activities, but he says he wasn't. But he's a figure that always has intrigued me as a reporter, and that's part of what the fun of revisiting these controversies was opening our notebooks as reporters and talking about things we had done with these presidents or stories we had reported about them. Back in 2015, Jerry Falwell Jr. was making all sorts of news because he loved guns. And he wanted all of the students at Liberty, this evangelical university, to get concealed carry permits. And he even said he carried a gun on the stage at some kind of Liberty event. But I was so intrigued by this gun nut president that I actually went out and shot guns with Jerry
Really?
at a gun range that was at Liberty. And so he's always been one of these very eccentric figures, not unlike Gordon Gee. I mean, he is unlike Gordon Gee, but he's one of these interesting personalities in higher education that make this such a fun thing to write about. And I really wish I'd been able to find room for him on my bracket, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, we're going to get back to that, Jack, because I sometimes think that presidents have become a little boring. Don't you think, Michael?
Well, Jeff, this is where I wanted to bring you in because you have this austere background when you were the Chronicle. Is there something you would have had on your list, or you can comment if you prefer around the three teams we have here and what surprised you about theirs?
Well, first of all, I want to point out for those who are watching us on video, they actually have like a little bingo card here that they put together. Jack, is this available? Or did you just send this to us?
I will make sure you get a copy. I'm sure we've tweeted them out.
Yeah, let's put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes, but it's a great bingo card so you can follow along,
listeners are trying to follow along. They don't know how to process this information, Jeff.
Well, I'm probably the oldster here, so I would have loved to crash that Chronicle draft. I'm a little disappointed you didn't invite